evening and welcome to The Big Story here on Radio Now 95.3 FM Lagos. I'm Zainab Balogun Olu, and today on The Big Story we'll be taking a look at Simon Ekpa's conviction. And so reactions have been trailing that's the pro-Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa by a court in Finland for terrorism offences such as participation in a terrorist organization, tax fraud, incitement, amongst others. In a ruling delivered on Monday, the court found him guilty of inciting terrorism and participating in the activities of a terrorist group and sentenced him to 6 years in prison, saying he used his significant social media following to stoke tensions in the southeast region of Nigeria between August 2021 and November 2024. Now, the three-member panel of judges in a unanimous ruling stated that Ekpa was an influential member of a militant separatist movement whose goal was to actualize the secession of a Biafran state from Nigeria while also supplying these groups with weapons. The federal government, on their part, have hailed the judgment, describing it as a major step in the global fight against extremism. On the part of the proscribed Ipob, they have distanced themselves from the pro-Biafran agitator, saying Simon Ekpa has never held a position with them, and also warned against linking it to the reported conviction of Simon Ekpa in Finland. And to buttress this further, I have two guests. But before we go to our guests, I would like us to take a listen to some of the reactions from residents in the Southeast on this conviction and what they think it means for the leader of the proscribed Ipob, Nnamdi Kanu.
It's a criminal act now because it's inciting people. Are you getting me? It's inciting people to commit, very bad thing like that. Because what he's saying at that place is affecting us here. It's affecting us here. It's making us to not have rest in our own region here.
Ekpa's case, the most striking thing about it is the swiftness in the dispensation of justice. It doesn't matter what, at the end of the day, the verdict was. Whether he was convicted or he was freed, acquitted, discharged and acquitted. What was important that the people that accused him had all their evidence, presented all their facts to the court, and they looked at these things and reached their verdicts in good time. How many weeks did it take? But Nnamdi Kanu's case has been dragging on and on and on. And the reason is because of the political nature of the case.
The conviction of Simon Ekpa in Finland, by Finland court, is a welcome development in the sense that it will help to reduce the excess or the arrogant nature of the young man. Because the man has caused a lot of mayhem in the southeast. By encouraging his members, the people I sometimes refer as gullible members, to engage in killing and in destruction of people, of lives and properties in the southeast, all in the name of fighting for Biafra. And he has gone ahead to declare himself a prime minister of a Biafra government in exile. You know how ridiculous that can be. So, to me, it's a welcome development. It's a welcome development. I don't think anybody should condemn his imprisonment. His season imprisonment. That Nnamdi Kanu has been on trial since 2017. So if you calculate 2017 today, it's 8 years. Whereby somebody, someone was arrested November last year, late November last year, and yesterday. If you calculate it, it's just 9 months, not 8 months. Now the guy has been sentenced to death. Has been sentenced to imprisonment. So it talks more about our judiciary.
All right, that's, was reactions from residents in the Southeast. Now, joining me to speak on this further, I have two guests. I have a legal practitioner, Mr. Gerald Ekwenife. Good evening, Mr. Ekwenife. It's great to have you on the program.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us. We also have a public affairs analyst from the Southeast, Mr. Joseph Agbo. Good evening, Mr. Agbo. It's great to have you on the program.
What did you call me, please?
Mr. Joseph Agbo.
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 Yes.
Okay.
Is this sounding like the Yoruba medicine?
Yes, exactly.
So don't call it. That's how we call it here. Evangelist Joseph Agbo.
Okay. All right. So let me begin with you, Mr. Agbo. You're in the Southeast, so I'll just ask your reaction to, that conviction of Simon Ekpa.
Reaction.
What does it mean for the people in the Southeast?
It is expected. I actually felt the sentence was rather too small.
Was rather too small. You
Yes.
expected more than six years.
Yes.
Okay, so what does it mean for the people in the Southeast?
I don't really know whether it means anything to us. So, when it comes to the issues on ground, because at the end of the day, what he has done, he did all the way from Finland, and it all began as garbage broadcast. And Biafra is like an opium here, and a lot of people don't really understand what the issues are. So a lot of people jump on it as a bandwagon thing. I remember that in 2022, I was in a radio station here in the South. It's called Energy FM. And that was when the Simon Ekpa thing was raging. And I told them, I said, I don't know why you are blaming Simon Ekpa, that is the New Testament. And you are not blaming Nnamdi Kanu, that is the Old Testament. Who produced Simon? It was Nnamdi that produced Simon. The kind of similar broadcast. So I don't know why we are making so much fuss about Simon Ekpa and we are not seeing how it degenerated from Nnamdi's own broadcast. So for me, it's neither here nor there. I don't think those of us here, especially those of us who understand the issues, are really too worried about the sentence because it was expected.
Okay, so you're saying it doesn't really change anything because there's still Nnamdi Kanu. And so are we saying, would you say that the security in the Southeast is still very bad? Or would you say the situation has improved? Because, what was said was after his arrest, it seemed like there was an improvement in the Southeast. The sit-at-home orders kind of stopped. So could you confirm that?
Stopped. Well, it's stopped in some places. Some places they are still doing it. Like I told you, this thing is a conviction thing. Somebody is there is something that somebody says. A French philosopher, Voltaire, he said something, and I quote: "Those who will make you believe absurdities would make you commit atrocities. Those who will make you believe absurdities will make you commit atrocities." I remember in the days of Osama bin Laden, there was a newspaper article I wrote that time after Osama died. And I wrote a newspaper article, I titled it Beyond Osama. And I said there are already over 1,000 Osama bin Ladens created across the world. How do we stop? Are we going to be picking them one by one? And this is the same thing that is happening here. A lot of people have already got used to this belief that you can pick up a new country on the street. And on the 12th of December 2020, when Nnamdi formed ESN, some of us condemned it and said it is not done in any sovereign state, anywhere in the world, that a state actor will do this. And the implication now is that a lot of people now jumped in on it. whatever is done by ESN, whether it is done by ESN, whether it's not done by ESN, a lot of other people now use the opportunity. And that's what happens. Whenever you set something in motion, you never can tell where it will end.
All right.
So,
thank you, Mr. Agbo. I will come back to you, on that because, the prescribed Ipob even distanced themselves and said they are not, what's his name? Simon Ekpa is not a member of Ipob. Ipob is not Simon Ekpa. So we'll come back to that conversation.
My sister, if you buy...
I'll come back to you.
If you sell
I'll
a
come
dog,
back to you,
if you
Mr. Agbo.
sell a dog and buy a monkey, something that is stooping is still in your house.
Let me take you to Barrister Ekwenife now on this. From a legal perspective, right, what does this conviction of Simon Ekpa signify for Nigeria? I mean, we're talking about extremism, separatist movements, and all of those things. What does this conviction mean?
From a legal perspective, I don't know if you can hear me.
I can hear you.
Oh, well, I'm trying to find the right answer. From a legal perspective, well, it throws a challenge to us generally as a lawyer. That's the first thing. It throws a challenge to us. Some terrorism-related, litigations or cases in our court system have been on for over 10 years now, right? Nnamdi Kanu, I can't remember. I know that his case has been on for about a year or two now. If not, I think that's much more than that because right from 2019 up, okay, I think it was 2019, right?
2015,
can't remember that he was
started in 2015, 2017, it was granted.
Yeah, before that one, I know, but it hasn't been one stretch. Yeah, it hasn't been one stretch. He was extradited back to Nigeria around 2021.
Yeah.
Now this is 2025. That's about 3 years. But this particular case, Ekpa was arrested in May, right? Is that not
last year?
In May,
last
year till now. That's about 3 months, give or take, right?
Yeah, he was arrested.
About 3 months or so.
In November last year.
Arrested in
November last year.
November 2024.
Exactly. So let's give it, a couple of months. In less than a year, the matter is concluded. Findings have been done. Evidence tendered in court. Judicial proceedings took place, and he's been convicted. Bearing appeals, which he has a right in law, bearing appeals. And even if the appeals come, it's going to be much faster, and the matter is dispensed with. So that's the only legal, implication and challenge it throws at us. That what we've been crying about, there is a crying need for urgent judicial reform. In fact, a word we like, or a coinage we like in Nigeria here, a state of emergency needs to be declared in our judiciary. Because indeed, judiciary is the source and spring of society. And indeed, justice is the most powerful weapon against violence and terrorism. It is not our soldiers, it is not our police, it is not a civilian JTF. All those are important and they form part and parcel of our criminal justice system. But what's the underlining word? Justice. When one person commits a crime and is picked up and justice is speedily, expeditiously, and at the same time, justicably dispensed. And it serves as a warning and a deterrence to others. That's the most important weapon against terrorism. So that's the legal implication of this conviction and the challenge it throws to Nigeria.
Okay. Because some persons have also mentioned this. Some persons have said, Simon Ekpa's case, within how many months it was concluded swiftly, or Nnamdi Kanu's case has dragged for so long. Is it really about the efficiency of the court, or does it have to do more with the charges? The charges against...
No, I can tell you, authoritatively, it's got very little to do with the charges. no matter how you coin the charges, no matter how you twist it, look, is not the reason for this. Look, our problem in Nigeria, just like in the judicial sector, just like in other sectors, and please, I don't want to sound like a broken record. All Nigerians have become experts in analyzing what our problems are. We know this problem, but from the judiciary, there are two major issues. Now, there is the physical, or what I call the hard infrastructure deficit challenge, militating against.
Can you hear me?
As the soft infrastructure deficit challenge. On the hard infrastructure deficit, we talk about there is a grave understaffing of the judiciary. Let's call it what it is. My dear sister, you cannot have over 200 million people, being served by the population of staff in our judiciary. And I'm talking of both the bench and their supporting staff. Our Nigerian Supreme Court has 21 justices, and it has never, I can't remember when last it was fully filled until a few months ago. It was a few months ago, I think, under this president, under this Kekere Eku, our amazing female chief justice, that the 21 slots, it has always been short, 15. I know that 21 is abysmally, insufficient to meet all the needs. Ask any lawyer. You will see cases pending at the Supreme Court for 20 years, waiting for adjudication. That's number one. And this is not about, an analysis of the problems of the judiciary. Then you talk about soft physical, infrastructure deficit. The courts should be everywhere. In America, district courts, county courts, and they are replicated to show, a response to the millions of Americans, the number of citizens.
Mr. Ekpa,
this has to be addressed.
Yes,
yes, please.
Yes, I'll also come back to you. You're a lawyer, so maybe you could help us differentiate the charges, right? That of Simon Ekpa and that of what's his name now? Nnamdi Kanu, right? The charges against both of them. Yes, we've talked about terrorism offenses for him, but there's also Nnamdi Kanu that it was 15 count charges, and they amended this to this 15 counts that we have now.
Mr.
Ekwenife, let me come back to you on that, because I would also ask about location, if location also has anything to do with that. Let me take you back to Mr. Agbo on this. It's easy to pronounce because Yoruba calls it Agbo. All right, coming back to you, Mr. Agbo. What do you think this means for Nnamdi Kanu's case, seeing this conviction of Simon Ekpa? What do you think it means for the case of Nnamdi Kanu?
I don't really know what I want to say, because when I'm discussing this matter, I choose to be careful so that I don't say everything, because I already know a lot.
Say everything in what sense?
No, it's not everything that you say, my sister. It's not because of fear, but because of the fact that there are some things I will be saying, some people will not. The truth is that there is a political angle to the Nnamdi matter, and there is also a legal angle to it.
Okay, so what do you think the political angle?
The truth is that the truth that I suspect, you will now ask me whether truth can be suspected. The truth that I suspect is that even his lawyers don't want that case tried straight away. They have been hoping for a political solution because they know where the case will end if it is tried. I think that's all I want to say for now.
Okay.
There is a political angle to it, and they are hoping that that political angle will help solve the problem. If you have followed that case, my sister, you will know that there was a time some years ago, about 2 years ago or so, that Binta Nyako was angry and telling Kanu's lawyer that they are deliberately delaying the case. She said it in the open court. And I know the woman knew what she was saying. That's what I want to.
So you think they are deliberately doing this, elongating the matter because of what could happen based on the charges? And
if it goes straight into legal trial, legal justice. So they are hoping that social justice and political justice will help provide a landing, a soft landing, because all the evidences are available. A lot of, just like I talked about the gutter broadcast. That's what led to this whole thing. That people are being, radicalized. That's the job some of us have been doing here in the past 10 years or thereabout. Try to de-radicalize those who think they can pick up development on the street. I am a Biafran, and I have never hidden my interest in Biafra. But I am a Biafra that believes in the legal, political, and diplomatic process.
And
I belong to a group called Mobbing.
Okay.
Mobbing, Movement of Biafrans in Nigeria. Many people are not even aware that Ipob was not supposed to be a group. Ipob was neither founded by Nnamdi Kanu, nor did he found Radio Biafra.
Now prescribed.
But a lot of people do not know.
I said now prescribed Ipob. Because it's
yes, Ipob was not supposed to be a group. It was supposed to be a people, indigenous people of Biafra. It came on board after September 13, 2007, when the United Nations Declaration, UN Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous Peoples, was pronounced by the United Nations. They call it UN DRIP. It was the elders that wrote a letter to more than 15 countries intimating them. But this is not the platform to. But I just want people to know that Nnamdi did not found IPOB. It was not supposed to be a group.
So
it was supposed to be a people.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, the chairman of the Supreme Council of Elders of the Indigenous People of Biafra was the Chief Judge of Enugu State, Justice Eze Ozobu. The deputy chairman was Dr. Dozie Ikedife, while the secretary was Brigadier General Joe Achuzia from Delta State. So it was not supposed to be a group of boys running around. No, it was supposed to be a people.
Okay. I'll come back to you on this, Mr. Agbo, because you've talked about a lot of things, right? And again, going back to, because I remember Justice Bintan Yako, Nnamdi Kanu asked that, she recuses herself from his case, and he didn't want her from the case she did. But that also, she was asked to come back, and he needed to,
this is a recent development now.
Yeah.
This is a recent one.
Yes, exactly.
When I was talking about what she said in the open court about when she was scolding his lawyers and telling them that, asking them why they are deliberately delaying this case from going into hearing.
So does it mean that they are working against him? Is it
no,
that
they are not working against him. They are actually working for him. They know what will happen.
Okay.
If you go into straight legalism. That's what I call it, legalism.
Okay. So I'll come back to you, Mr. Agbo, because if you say they are doing it the wrong way, what's the expectation from the government? Because you said this is not what it was supposed to be about. So what is the legal way? You said legal and diplomatic way. What is that like?
I said, I believe in the diplomatic, legal, and political process.
Okay. So I'll come back to you on that.
Self-determination.
On what that should be. But let me quickly take it back to Mr. Ekwenife now. So, Mr. Ekwenife, as we were discussing, right? So, there is the issue of location. Finland, where this case was tried, it's up to 12 years for terrorism-related cases in Finland, 4 to 6 to 12 years, depending. And you could also tell us what it is, for Nigeria. Do you think that, again, because of the location, because it was in Finland, this case was swift to try, as to in Nigeria, where maybe the implication would have been dire, right? And if, for instance, in Nigeria, Nnamdi Kanu's case is prosecuted, the implication that will have on Nigeria, do you see this as maybe one of the reasons for the delay, not having this? And also, if you could explain the charges, the different charges from Simon Ekpa to Nnamdi Kanu, how it differs.
When you say the implication it could have in Nigeria, I don't know what implication it will have. If anything, I would say it will have very positive implication. If the trial of Nnamdi Kanu is concluded and a definitive, decision reached, personally, I'll try to remove
any opera in the southeast with his followers, those have been calling. You don't think?
And I ask a question: if he does, then what? I mean, what you're asking now is, does justice have implication? If justice is done in a supposedly democratic entity, will it have negative implication? I could throw it back at you, and I'm asking our audience, if justice is done in Nigeria, what terrible, implication will it have that justice is being done? Let me just break it down, because I'm tempted to remove, just for a moment, my legal cap and put on my citizen's cap. And most importantly, wear my Ishiago as, for Igbo. That is a son of Igbo land.
Okay.
And I'm going to do it. Permit me to remove my cap a moment, legal cap aside. So I ask you the question, I ask you a rhetorical question, okay? If justice is done for the family of that Igbo girl, a military officer, who brought another male military officer to come and pay her bride price in Imo, I think it's in Imo State, about 3 years ago. And the so-called ESN, the so-called Ipob, even though they are denying it foolishly right now, because the consequences are now staring them in the face. They carry their own daughter, just because she's wearing military uniform, because she's serving in Nigerian military. They butchered her in the most satanic manner. They cut her private parts. Forgive me for being graphic, because we need to hear this truth. I know that part of those listening across Nigerians are some people that I don't know what has happened to their head, with great respect, that have sympathy for ESN, have sympathy for their Onyendu, their so-called supreme leader, Nnamdi Kanu.
Okay.
That created all this in the first place. Please excuse me. You killed your own daughter. Not to mention the 10 other virgin girls that they kill indiscriminately to service their charms and juju. I ask, if justice is done for those innocent...
Mr. Kwenife, are you there?
What kind of negative implication will it have? So I'm calm now. Now, and I'm putting back my legal cap to answer your question.
That's
what
great.
kind of negative implication? So let that negative implication, let it happen, but justice must be done.
Okay, so...
And let me use this before I put on my legal cap. Permit me, because my elder... my uncle in the studio, talked about political solution, and he was careful not to say it. I am not careful. I will say it now. I am most disappointed, just on this call, I am most disappointed in those so-called Igbo governors, Igbo political leaders, starting from Eyinaya Baribe, my governor, Charles Soludo. On this call, I am against him and others who are making moves to have the so-called political solution that will have Nnamdi Kanu walk free. Nnamdi Kanu must not be allowed to walk free. He must face justice. And if a Nigerian court finds that he's guilty, that he's not guilty, fine. But if they find him guilty, he must answer for it. So no missing words. Now I'm back to my law, regalia. I hope you don't mind.
Yes. And why I asked that really was because when he was also arrested the first time, we saw the situation. Yes, we have always been seeing the sit-at-home order, but the moment he was arrested, we saw the calls, we saw the agitation in the southeast, and we saw the insecurity also increase. And that's why I said, if eventually, the case is tried, he's prosecuted, would we actually the implication of that? And that's why I asked you that. But two again,
I can actually tell you everything will go calm. I can assure you of that. You may have just a tiny, but you can see right now there is actually our security agencies are having an upper hand against them. It's no longer, my uncle from the southeast will agree, it's no longer as terrible as it used to be. There is, even if marginal, decrease in the pace and ferocity of violence compared to before. And most importantly, I just hammer some of our so-called governors and political leaders. They have stepped up the game. I know that even Soludo has stepped up. I know that the governor of Enugu should be giving kudos. Even the place that seems to be the hotbed in Imo, Hope is trying. Yes,
right.
please.
But people will also want to understand, because the charges are different, that of Simon Ekpa and that of Nnamdi Kanu. Right.
Okay, so if you want me a quick summary, I'm not going into detail because, to be honest, I've not taken time to read all the charges, but I can tell you that in law we say that a case is in pari materia with another case. That means on fundamental issues they agree. There is terrorism charge, there is incitement, there is incitement in both cases. Now, these are the findings of the Finnish courts. They found that Mr. Ekpa between 2021 and 2024 provided criminal separatist armed groups in Southeast with weapons and all ammunition and explosives through his network in pursuit of Biafra illegally. Okay, they also, the evidence was also tendered and accepted in court that Ekpa used the social media to incite violence in my region, that's the Southeast. Yeah. Thereby, they directly linked the violence in the Southeast with, Ekpa's social media campaign. In Nigeria here, I'm not jumping in because the matter is sub judice, is still in court, but we were all here during NSAS. We saw the use of social media by Nnamdi Kanu. Let them go and successfully say that they were not the one. The voices, the faces, some interviews, where he also committed the same offenses for which Ekpa has been convicted, using social media to incite violence. There were videos of trainings in different camps, even as far back as 2020, when he was having camps and all that. So they are in pari materia with Ekpa's case, and I know that the charges are not fundamentally different from this. So if you like,
he was also charged for treasonable felony. That's
of course.
That's for Nnamdi Kanu. So which is weightier, the charges against Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa? Which charges? Which is weightier?
Definitely Nigerians, of course, now, if Ekpa has been tried here, he won't be getting 3 years. Nigerians' case is weightier. That is the truth. And that's why you have even heard layman all complaining that 6 years is so small and all of that. So I know it is weightier. What the Attorney General and his team are pushing for is going to be much more weightier on Kanu, if he is found guilty by the courts, of course.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Ekunifele. And let me take you back to Mr. Agbo as we wrap up now. And so we're talking about legal and diplomatic ways. What exactly is that? And do you think that these people are also just using this to make money? Some of these persons involved in some of these agitations. Do you think it's about genuine political grievances in the Southeast, or about people who are just exploiting the movement for their own influence? If you can do that under 1 minute thereabout.
Do you know why I'm laughing?
No, I don't know
the
why.
Only person I have not met is Simon Ekpa, because he doesn't live here. Even though he comes from the state where I reside, where I work. He comes from Ebonyi. But name any other person that is in the so-called Biafran struggle. I have met them all. And I am not talking about then the past. I can't see them. We sat down in a meeting and we talked. What is going on is just the only way to describe it is to call it fraud. Somebody wants to pick up a new country on the street. It's a joke. In 2021, I was in Wazirike's house. He was sitting, I was standing. I was talking to him. I said, "Oga, do you remember when you said we should not participate in the census, that we are not Nigerians, that we are Biafrans?" He was looking at me. I was reminding him. Then I bent down towards his face and I said, that was 2021. I said, "Sir, 15 years after, where are we?" He was looking at me. I said, "When they finished the census, they allocated a population number to us. And that's what they have been using to send allocation to the southeast. Who is losing? We." I've met Nnamdi 4 times, but I don't want to talk where. So what is happening is a case. So when I talked about diplomatic, political, and legal solutions, there are diplomatic, political, and legal processes to achieving self-determination. Where are the people? You know, my sister, I'm going to send you my radio. I've been on radio for over 15 years. I've discussed this matter. That's why I was just laughing when Barrister was talking. I said, Barrister, if you get angry like this, those of us who have been here, who have faced it every day, who come under attack because we say the truth. But I keep telling them, what will kill me is not truth. It is lie. It is when I say what I do not know, just to be able to say something. That's when I will die. But as long as I stand on the truth, 16 days after Nnamdi Kanu was released from Kuje, I met him in a very private meeting, 4 or 6 of us. I don't want to say what we discussed, but I wished that he had listened to the voice of reason.
I would have liked to push further, Mr. Agbo, but we're out of time. But if you said these are not genuine, so what exactly are they doing? I mean, just to get that as we wrap up.
You can do the deduction. Don't ask me.
I don't know that. I'm not in the Southeast. You said you've been a part of this struggle.
Are there banks,
and so
are there banks in Lagos?
Are there banks? There are banks in Lagos. There are banks everywhere.
There are banks in Lagos. Okay. It's all right.
So it's just what now? Making money? If you are talking about banks, that's what I can deduce.
I think they keep money in the bank. Okay. I think they also keep gold and some other precious things in the bank.
Well, you said you would not talk about, you would always say the truth. So let's finish with that truth.
What is the truth? You're already seeing the truth. You're asking me. What are you asking me? I told you, first of all, what can I say that is stronger than to tell you that this whole thing is a fraud? People are just smiling to the bank in the name of people, in the name of Biafra. Biafra is a spirit. Biafra is a people. It's not a group that somebody uses to make money. Biafra is a people. And those who formed IPOB as a group and wrote letters to war, Nnamdi Kanu attended the meeting called by the Australian government on 19th March 2013. I beg.
Thank you so much, Mr.
It was when the elders ostracized him on May 12, 2014, that he now went and registered Ipob London Limited, which has been deregistered now by the British government.
Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Agbo, for your insights, into this discussion. And we'll see how all of this unfolds, right, with the government, and we see where this actually ends, if it's going to be a political solution or if it's going to be legally. But, persons have said this is the way to go legally. So we'll continue to watch that space.
My sister, you know that I'm an evangelist, and I will always ask that God will forgive anyone who decides to repent. I have actually said it here severally on radio here in the Southeast, that Nnamdi Kanu owes Ndibo an apology. I'll stop here.
I will end it at that. Thank you so much, Mr. Joseph Agbo, Public Affairs Analyst in the Southeast. We do appreciate your time on the program. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. Gerald Ekwenife. Mr. Gerald Ekwenife is a legal practitioner. Thank you for your expertise on this matter as well. Thank you.
So thank you so much.
All right. And that's it on the big story this evening. We'll take some messages and you can join me on the round table.
Since 1894, we've witnessed the evolution of a nation and proudly partner with its